Everybody, I have a super special treat for you. Russell Spicer's in the house. He's actually in my community. He lives here in Northeast Georgia and is a math teacher at one of our local high schools. Our ninth graders get a special opportunity to have the ninth grade academy, which is just right across the street from the other high schoolers, 10th through 12th. And that's where Russell teaches math. And Russell is a Buff Nuggets subscriber and reader, and he hit me up and said, I've got some. He's been working on a couple things. The one thing caught my eye. It was just very unique and niche, and that was he was making vibe videos. I want to say vibe, it's just like chill vibe, like during the classroom of like classical music that is attached to math being done on a quadrant, and it's just like lines being made. And I haven't done ninth grade math in a long time, but you put me in a good mood, Russell, when I watched it. And the biggest thing I'm after is really you showing us a little bit of your secret sauce, because you're being so kind and willing, but inspiring us in ways that we just haven't seen this before. So, Russell, thank you for being with me. Thanks for sharing with other people. And
Yeah.
Can we watch the video just for a second so you guys can see it?
Let's play real quick just to give you a little snippet here. So that was one example.
Just one example.
It goes on for,
it's 2 hours, bro. I saw it.
2 hours. Yeah. I mean, the thing is my thought was, I've been recently getting into doing some vibe coding, and I have a bit of coding background, but when you get into vibe coding, like you basically just get AI to do all the hard work and the stuff that, that you don't really want to spend time doing.
And help us with vocabulary, because not everybody in the audience knows what vibe coding is.
Sure. So traditional coding is where you're sitting down and you have something like VS Code up, and you're literally writing the code, and you're having to go through and kind of debug yourself, or debug the code yourself, or write the code yourself. But vibe coding is, and it requires, traditional coding requires that coding background and a lot of studying time and a lot of learning. Vibe coding is literally anybody can do it. You can open up, Chat GPT or Claude. I haven't tried it with Gemini, but I have mainly been using Claude, which is by Anthropic. And you just have to really know what to say. Really learning how to prompt, and you can really get it to do things that you never really thought that you were capable, or that you weren't capable of doing before. And this is all vibe coded.
It sounds like mere mortals, if you can dream, you might be able to code cool stuff.
That's right. Yeah, that's really, really the limitation is you. So, so you really have to ask yourself, am I thinking about this in the right way? It really teaches you problem solving skills. And I'd like to kind of show you just a little bit here.
That's what we want, man. Show us, like, how did you get started making this thing?
So let me just kind of show you on my end. This is inside just a chat session, and you really just have to know what to say. And I mean, the end result, I'm just screen recording. And so you can see here at the bottom, I've created these buttons, and I've told it, I've told it I want it to do this button to do this, to generate a random equation, this button here to slide that, number over to show that that's the y-intercept. And my end result for this was just to be able to show, it's just a simple, y equals mx plus b, slope intercept form equation, just on repeat. And then you can find, royalty free music basically anywhere. And
already have questions, Russell. I'm going to interrupt you, because there's certain things I have to know, because I know my audience, and I know, like, there's certain things they're going to have hiccups on. So you coded, it looks like, an application.
Correct.
with buttons. And
Correct.
when you hit the buttons, things start flying around up on this YX intercept.
Correct. And
Okay.
I did it not in, so I have a bit of coding background, but not a lot. Okay. But I did all of this simply by telling it what I wanted. And you have to know the right things. And I'll show you exactly what it is, because literally right before we got on to start discussing, I opened up another session and I prompted it with one prompt, and I'll show you exactly what that prompt is. And I'll show you exactly the output, and really the possibilities are pretty cool. And this right here, you can see this is, this was generated right in the chat. You can change the size of the screen, you know, to be able to get it to fit at the window you want. But the idea is that like you could essentially create any type of manipulative for your class is what I'm getting at.
Okay. And
so,
now you mentioned screen recording. So
yeah.
Now some of these videos are 2 hours long. Is that you doing 2 hours of button hitting right here? And oh, okay.
Oh, no. So because I don't want to do that. So my thought was, I have this autoplay here, and once I hit that, it's basically telling it what you want to do. So when you're telling it what to do, you're able to click on, in this case, you're able to click on autoplay. And I told it I wanted this button to be able to autoplay through all the buttons. Now, some of the things, you end up spending more time on things that you never thought you'd spend more time on, and you end up spending less time on things you thought were going to be super difficult. That's kind of how it goes. But you can see here, and then, I just clicked play, and then you just screen record and you walk away and come back, 2 hours later. And then, I'll, watch it whenever I'm, creating, the rest of it and putting music to it or whatever. But my thought was I could put this on after I teach a lesson over slope intercept form, put it up on the board. It's got classical music. It's like a study ambiance. I can point to the board and say, hey, look at this example. What's the slope? What's
wow.
Over and over again. Right. So that was my thought on that. And, this is all experimental, some of it works, some of it might not, this
is amazing, man. I'm just watching lines just fly across the screen. You have it auto generated. You put some stuff in, but show us some of the guts here. What's some of the code you mentioned?
Yes. So really the biggest thing is knowing what to say. So so what I've told it to do is render a JSX file, and a working artifact so that we can chat and build together. So let me show you a prompt that I did right before we started discussing. So can you see this right here?
Yes.
This is my prompt, and this is literally the only thing that I gave it. I said, I'd like for you to create, and I just made this up right before we started talking. I'd like for you to create me a JSX file that is an artifact rendered directly within this chat so that you and I can work on a project together. Can we start with a 2x2 box along with a button below the box that when pressed randomly generates a factorable quadratic equation of the type 4x squared plus 7x minus 2. So I'm teaching quadratics right now.
Yep.
Right. So I figured I'd just do something like this. So this is the hardest part really, because sometimes it gets it, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it will just generate you the code. I was very fortunate. I'm using Opus right here. In the past, I've used Sonnet, but Opus seems to be pretty powerful. It uses up a lot of your credits pretty quickly.
And Opus sounds like it's built in with Claude. It's an option or it's a model.
It is. It is the most powerful, from my understanding. It's one of the most powerful models as far as like coding goes right now. At one point, I think Sonnet was. And I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But you'll see here, once I click this is just from one prompt.
Yeah.
And I wanted just for you to show that. So I'm clicking this button here and it's doing what I asked it. So it's generating some quadratic equations. Now, to be honest with you, I haven't checked them to make sure that they are actually factorable. It's telling me that they are, but remember, the biggest thing is that, AI does make mistakes. So it could just be making this up. Yeah. I haven't had time to actually check it, but we're teaching a certain way. So my thought was maybe I'll start working on another, video to where I can show some examples while students are working up on the screen. So yeah.
That's amazing, man. And do you mind showing us a little bit of the so that's the prompt you just made. This is something.
Yeah.
Right now, people are watching. They go, well, I don't know how to code. Vibe coding sounds cool. and their expertise may not be quadratic equations,
Sure.
but it doesn't have to be like that would do whatever knowledge you have, you can like, for instance, I was able to do something similar to what you're doing. And I was able to use Gemini to code, and that was build a animatronic talking chicken nugget.
Yeah.
Which is robotic and uses AI to speak, in which I have no business doing that. I have no background. And so you and I are doing some different things, but your specialty is math, and you could tell because you know the verbiage and you're saying things that I don't know how to say. So it still takes skill to do this, like our background, but we have tools to make it happen. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So before, like if this was 12 years ago, it would probably, to do just that right there, it would probably take you like 2 days of straight, coding and building, with HTML and CSS and JavaScript. But like knowing the correct terminology, being an expert in your field, that's the thing that I'm getting at. And so, whenever we initially talked, my vision for this, or my thought of this, is that, teachers are not replaceable, right? You are an expert in your field, and it is a matter of taking these tools that are insane and using them in a way that is going to make your life like so much easier, but also like expanding your world a bit, into building stuff that you never thought that you could build before. So,
well, Russell, as we close, do you mind showing a little bit of the code with the with your videos, your animated videos? I know how you made your app.
Yeah. So, like, you want to see like the background code itself?
I was curious of what your prompt was. Maybe it was the.
Well, okay. So let me see if I can find. Okay, so let's see. So let me give you an issue here. So let me see if I can go back and think about what I was working on. Do you think some of the changes? So I'm glad you actually brought this up. Okay, so I will tell you, the original prompt that I had this was along the similar lines of what I told you in the previous video, or the previous screen. Render, you have to know the verbiage to talk to AI, and it needs to know that you want to render a JSX file or render something,
which is a coding file for those listening,
right? And an artifact within the chat, right? So that it knows that you want to be able to see it. Okay, otherwise it's going to do exactly what you tell it to do. It might sometimes generate the code. For this one, I think I said that along the lines of, I would love to be able to have a 15 by 8 grid with X and Y. And I started with that, and it did that pretty quickly. So like this right here, it was able to do pretty quickly. And it's just going back and forth with it and saying, okay, let's maybe change this. But I will say, you can see this other prompt here where I said, to solve the other issue, do you think simply changing the size of the rise and run counting labels will help with that? Don't do it yet. I'm asking. Also, are they currently all the same font size? So in the middle of it, like, you've got to remember, and I was actually listening to a podcast on the way to work today, talking about how, a little while ago, a lot of companies were letting go of AI, or they were letting go of developers because of AI and whatnot. And recently they have started hiring back, because one of the things that AI will do is that it will go back, and it only has so much memory. And I have discovered that the hard way. It only looks back so far. And so, like, sometimes it will start making changes, and you have to understand how AI generates. It literally predicts the very next word or character, right, based upon probability. So its memory, it's getting better with that, but its memory is not as good as what I think we think it is. And I could be wrong with that, and it's always developing. But from my experience, I've had to tell it to wait, hold on, stop for a second, because I don't want you to go making any big changes, because if you do, then you could end up breaking what we have. And that's happened multiple times to where it won't even render. And I'll have to say,
I don't want to mess up what we have right now. We've got something special. Don't mess this up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And then it will.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of hang your head a little bit and you're like, all right, I got to
Oh
go figure
man.
out what
I've
happened.
done tainted my AI, and
Yeah.
it's I can never get it back. Hey, so I'm
Yeah.
guessing when you coded this and you got all your buttons, you had to work on the speed and the direction of how these numbers are coming down, and this took some effort, and it did take some time. I am curious, Russell, if you could
Mhm.
calculate how much time it took you to at least get everything set up with all your buttons here in this application, what would you tell the audience?
I would probably say from start to finish, this took me probably about like 5 hours.
Wow.
I know that's a lot. Okay. But if you work
This
on
is
it,
pretty
like
intensive though. Mhm.
it is, but if you work on it, and the other thing too, you got to remember that you're going to have limitations. So, um, you, you have like session limitations. So if you reach a session limitation, and that's nice. So that's kind of an estimate because, and it might not even be that long because it stretches out over days, because when you reach a session limit, you can't prompt anymore
And when you
until.
say session limit, you're talking about the current pricing or fee structure you pay for.
Right. So like what I pay for this is a paid for version that I'm using. You can use a free version, but you're not going to get very far. Like you might be able to do one prompt like I did on that previous screen, but at this, what I'm paying for is like $20 a month, and it's just, base. It's not, industry standard for sure. So like you might get um
It's not unlimited every day.
no, it is not. And that's nice because it kind of paces you out. You're like, okay, well, I'm done working on it for today. I
Sure.
prompted it a few times, and then we'll move on and, work on it. But it's just a fun little side project, and it kind of gave it out there.
This is so cool. Thanks for sharing this with
Yeah.
me. I do want to ask this. A lot of people are watching this probably because they get the Buff Nuggets newsletter.
Mhm.
And I am curious, Russell, if you have any epiphanies or words that you're like, Brian, the Buff Nugget newsletter means this to me, or it's helped you in some kind of way. I'm curious if you want to contribute anything.
Oh yeah. Well, it's one of those things where when you see it, I love how you call it nuggets, because you were able to take away little nuggets and use them, within your classroom, or use them in ways that, that you didn't think that were available. So it's just little pieces of information, or little tools that you can have in your toolbox to be able to use at any given time.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Russell. And this, I tell you, this right here is like a mega nugget. This thing would even fit in a chicken 8-piece. Man, this thing is awesome. Now, I think you help us break it down, but man, this is powerful, and you're going to inspire some people who teach other content too. So thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, Russell, if people would like to get in contact with you, is there a preferred channel?
Yeah. I mean, you're welcome to email me at russellspicer@gmail.com. That's just my personal email.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Or if you're wanting to see where the YouTube channel is, where
I'll put that in the show notes. I'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely. You can put that there too. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Russell.
Yeah, absolutely.